Whether you want to admit it or not, whether you like them or not, WWE held a groundbreaking event called WWE Evolution, which was the first all-women's pay-per-view held here in the United States. It was not TNA, it was not NWA, it was WWE, and it was their way of ushering in their era, or the new era, of women's professional wrestling here in the United States, as WWE wanted the spotlight on them and them only. A lot of fans have been asking, when are we going to get part 2 to Evolution? Well, if you are one of those fans and have been asking for part 2, your prayers might finally be answered, because we could potentially be getting Evolution part 2 this summer under the Triple H era as its own premium live event. I got the latest on that today right here on Off the Script. Kendrick Lamar in AEW? I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's been requested. Rey Phoenix, he's on his way to WWE after being released from Guantanamo Bay. I got the latest on when Rey Phoenix is going to show up on Monday Night Raw to join his brother Penta. WWE strategically has lined up a string of shows, Double or Nothing weekend, to combat AEW and The Undertaker. Boots, Mickie James off of LFG, and now Michelle McCool, his wife, is replacing her. All this in the news right here on Off the Script, and we will start with that. Michelle McCool is replacing Mickie James on LFG. And this is the new show on A&E, Legends and Future Greats, which I actually have been watching. I quite enjoy it. I think it's a very good watch. And LFG has now been renewed for season 2, but with some changes. It was revealed yesterday that Michelle McCool will replace Mickie James on the series, leading many to question why that is happening. Sources close to A&E production claim to Fightful that The Undertaker was so instrumental on getting his wife on the show. The claim from those close to the series say The Undertaker was open to continuing the show if Michelle McCool was involved, so she was brought in to replace Mickie James. Now, Fightful goes on to say, it is important to note that we have not heard anything claiming The Undertaker specifically wanted Mickie James off the show or wanted Michelle McCool to actively replace Mickie James, just that he wanted Michelle McCool involved. I see a lot of people fake outraging on social media in regard to this story. You got accounts who specifically cover divas or women's wrestling news and happenings, and you get your social justice warriors out there claiming that this is not right. How could they do this? Listen, I've always been upfront and honest with everybody, and I'm not going to change now because of this story. Do I think Michelle McCool belongs on the show? I'm not here to say yes or no. Mickie James was already instituted in the show, in the program, and she does a great job at it. She's a legend. Why nobody would want advice from Mickie James is beyond me. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't know what the strategy is for the show and what their whole mindset is for the show. Maybe they just wanted one female coach and that was it, mixed with other legends like Booker T and Bully Ray and The Undertaker. Having 2 women coaches there, I don't know if that fit into the vision of what they wanted for the show. And as far as being renewed for season 2, they wanted The Undertaker on the show because he's the fucking Undertaker. He's the greatest legend in the history of the business. Who are you going to go out there and watch? The Undertaker or Mickie James? Are you going to get the show renewed because Mickie James is on the show without The Undertaker? Or is the show going to get renewed with The Undertaker on it and without Mickie James? If you guys just think with the way that they think, and you understand that the television show probably wouldn't have been renewed without The Undertaker moving forward, then all of this fake outrage wouldn't be. The fact that they want The Undertaker on the show, he's going to get what he wants. And to keep him happy, they brought in his wife. It's as simple as that. There's no outrage here. There's no, oh my God. Mickie James is one of the more undervalued talents that I think have ever graced women's television in WWE. I think she gets the short end of the stick time and time and time again. And I don't think people really appreciate her. Honestly, I think she's fucking fantastic. But the fact of the matter is they got a show to run. They got ratings to keep up. And they have a network to keep happy. They're going to keep them happy by having The Undertaker there, who's the greatest superstar, legend in the history of the business. And if you want your show to succeed for season 2, going into season 3, then you're going to have The Undertaker there, and Mickie James is going to be replaced. It's as simple as that. Rey Phoenix. I'm excited for Rey Phoenix to finally be out of Guantanamo Bay. He has been released. Why? I don't know. Tony Khan said it was just time. It's a different mindset. And he bullshitted people at the post-show media scrum, or not the post-show media scrum, the conference call, the pre-show conference call with all the shills and the journalists before Revolution. Rey Phoenix hasn't signed with WWE yet, but it's coming soon. Rey Phoenix officially got his AEW release, early AEW release, and it is expected that he is headed to WWE. When Sean Ross Sapp asked about Fightful, or from Fightful, asked about Phoenix's status, we're told that he's expected to get WWE medicals done very, very soon. In addition, Fightful was told that merchandise has already been brainstormed for Phoenix, and that if he hasn't already signed, it's coming soon, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Now, Tony Khan, like I mentioned, he did talk about the releases as he was asked about the releases on the conference call with the media. He tells Dave Meltzer that releases were a case-by-case basis. He says it's different from what he's been doing, but he thinks it's best for the company. All of a sudden, your mindset just changed. Gee, man, I wonder what happened there. Who spoke to you? Did Daddy go and speak to you? Did he say, why are you wasting my money by paying these people we're not using? Maybe Shad Khan looked over the books and said something about why we're wasting so much money here. You're using this guy and this woman and that woman. Get rid of them. Something changed. Someone got into Tony's ear. Someone smartened him up. Someone changed that pettiness to do the right thing, and I'm grateful that he did, because Phoenix did not deserve it. Wardlow doesn't deserve it, and Keith Lee and whoever else is over there, Malachi didn't deserve it, Penta didn't deserve it, Roosh, and all those guys just being held captive and not being used for whatever reason. That's another story for a different day, though, but Phoenix, he's on his way to WWE. I would presume that Phoenix is going to be in the WWE this month, probably within the next couple of weeks. I don't know what he does. There's a couple of things that you could do with Rey Phoenix. He's going to be integrated on the Monday Night Raw brand. That's the way I see it. For two reasons. One, Penta's over there. That's his brother. And two, Chad Gable's got this excursion where he's trying to learn the arts, the dark arts of Lucha Libre. Penta right now is feuding with Ludwig Kaiser and Pete Dunne. We could see those guys, team up and battle the Lucha Brothers, potentially at WrestleMania, or maybe somewhere on the road to WrestleMania. Maybe. That's just one idea. The other idea I floated is that the New Day, they are feuding right now with the LWO and the most prominent luchador ever in Rey Mysterio. They have beaten the LWO a few times now. And come Monday, they will be at Madison Square Garden in a Texas Tornado Rules tag team match. I do believe that if the New Day end up winning that, and they do continue to beat the LWO, that we could see Rey Mysterio, we could see Penta, and Rey Phoenix team up together. All three of the greatest luchadors maybe ever against the New Day, and then their tag team partner would be the one who's learned and mastered the dark arts of Lucha Libre in Shad Gable. Big six-man tag team match at WrestleMania. Get everybody involved. Gives Rey a match, Penta a match, Phoenix a match at WrestleMania, which would be unbelievable because, he was probably set to be in Guantanamo Bay till maybe October or November, And now he's potentially looking at a WrestleMania match with his brother. He probably did not even think that was a possibility. But now it is certainly a possibility. The New Day would get on the WrestleMania card via that match. Chad Gable would be involved. I think it's a great match to get everybody involved and kind of mix and mingle with different stories together. The other one that we discussed on Tuesday Night Titans would be Rey Phoenix showing up like Cody Rhodes did a couple of years ago when Seth Rollins had an open challenge, and out comes Cody Rhodes, and they have a banger WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 38. That could be the same way for Chad Gable. Shows up, he's learned the dark arts of Lucha Libre just in time for WrestleMania. Out comes Rey Phoenix, and they have a banger match at WrestleMania. Chad Gable, Rey Phoenix, one-on-one, boom. That would be Rey Phoenix WWE debut. It's a possibility. All three of those matches are possibilities, so we'll see what happens. But Rey Phoenix, I predict, will be in the WWE within the coming weeks, and he is on his way in, no doubt about it. Speaking of AEW, they have quietly kept their calendar, their pay-per-view calendar, very hush-hush, very secret. They did this because they didn't want WWE to kind of step on their territory when it comes to booking the same weekend. But you cannot avoid the mighty machine that is WWE. They will always come back around to bite you when you least expect it. There is no hiding from this administration. The next head-to-head battle with AEW and WWE is set for Memorial Day weekend. Last month, AEW confirmed that this year's Double or Nothing pay-per-view will be moving from Las Vegas to the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday, May 25th. This marks the first time the show will be held outside Vegas in history, aside from the Jacksonville, Florida pandemic shows that happened in 20 and 21. On the latest episode of WrestleVotes Radio, the guys over at WrestleVotes revealed that the next Saturday night's main event special on NBC is slated for May 24th. That's a Saturday. Double or Nothing is on Sunday. So AEW thinks that they're in the clear. It was added that the company plans to hold a Battleground NXT pay-per-view, or PLE, the following night on May 25th. So WWE has Battleground for NXT as a premium live event the same night as AEW Double or Nothing. Now, this will be head-to-head, and Tony Khan thought he could avoid it. It's not going to be avoided, and WWE will always look at where AEW is, and when they announce something, there's NXT rearing its ugly head. It's been reported that AEW has been trying to keep their dates under wraps after more listing dates have basically bit them in the ass, because when they do, WWE combats and books the same weekend, and this all comes because WWE opted to run a house show in December, the same night as the AEW World's End pay-per-view. Not only is WWE taking Saturday night's main event and Battleground that weekend to Tampa, WWE is doing an entire Tampa weekend that extends all the way to NXT's TV taping on Tuesday. So not only are you getting Saturday night's main event, where John Cena is going to be promoted, by the way, Battleground on Sunday, Monday Night Raw in Tampa on Monday, and then NXT on Tuesday, all taking place at the Yuengling Center from May 24th to May 27th. Maybe next time they will realize, don't poke the big bear, the big grizzly bear, known as TKO, Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro, and Nick Khan. When you do, you're only going to get fucked. I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever. And finally, guys, Evolution. Actually, no, not finally. We got this Kendrick Lamar thing. Let me read through this first before we get to the Evolution stuff. Sean Ross Sapp held a Q&A for Fightful Select members, and apparently it was asked because Drake made an appearance at the WWE Elimination Chamber. Several wrestlers and AEW backstage personnel immediately pitched the idea to upper management in AEW to bring Kendrick Lamar in for an appearance at a next upcoming AEW pay-per-view, and this is coming from Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp. Now, he did say it seems unlikely that this will happen, but it was requested, and that is basically all he got as far as the reports. Now, if you guys have seen this floating around on social media, it's nothing more than desperation. The desperation is seeping off of everybody in AEW. They are so rattled by the John Cena heel turn and so rattled at the groundbreaking show that Elimination Chamber was that it put such a huge dent into their Revolution hype that nobody even realizes that there's a pay-per-view tomorrow, Sunday night, from the Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles. Now, granted, it is a great-looking card, and granted, Tony Khan knows how to do pay-per-view more times than not, and it should be a banger pro wrestling show. But the simple fact of the matter that everybody watches over there, because you know they are, everybody over there is watching the Elimination Chamber and seeing all the celebrities and seeing Cena turn heel and The Rock and Travis Scott in the ring and having that moment shock the world. They immediately went to Tony Khan and said, hey, boss man, can we get Kendrick Lamar for our show? First of all, Kendrick Lamar doesn't even know what the fuck AEW is, number one. Number two, celebrities don't want to mingle with AEW because AEW is not cool. AEW is not cool. Celebrities, or some celebrities, I don't want to say all celebrities don't know AEW. Some celebrities know AEW. But why would they waste their time with AEW? It is a nothing promotion. It's not cool. It's not cool to be associated with. They're not the cool kid in town anymore. They're the fucking geek who's sitting in the back of the fucking class, pushing his fucking pocket protector, drooling over the fucking hot blonde in the first row, which is WWE. You can't be WWE. You will never be WWE, and you can't do the same things WWE are doing all because you're the second biggest pro wrestling promotion in the United States. Nobody wants to be associated with you outside of double chocolate chunk cookies. That's the most you got. Sheer desperation. They want any sort of notoriety because the management and boss man up top can't deliver AEW the proper notoriety with long-term story, characters that matter, and week-to-week episodic television that keeps you glued to the fucking television. So I'm sorry. You want to go out there and get Kendrick Lamar? I'm going to laugh in your fucking face and sit here and say, yeah, try again. Your desperate, febile attempts to get any sort of notoriety are going to fall on deaf ears. Maybe you should go to the guy up top who's booking the fucking show and maybe get some notoriety with the stories and characters that you have on television that you really desperately need to get across. That's where your audience is lost. You want to get them back? Tell some great story and develop some great characters and give me a fucking reason to watch outside of great graps every single week. And finally, guys, Evolution. WWE is set to host Evolution 2 this year, potentially. The inaugural event took place on October 28th, 2018 at the Nassau Coliseum right here on Long Island, New York. It was a historic night for women's wrestling, featuring a stacked card headlined by Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey. I remember that. It wasn't good. The whole show was a complete miss for me, man. It was very overrated, and it was a show that left a lot to be desired. Some of the matches on the card, we'll go through with this. Did you guys know that Rhea Ripley was on a dark match wrestling Dakota Kai for the NXT UK Women's Championship? It wasn't even a match that aired on the pay-per-view broadcast, but it was a match that's part of the historical record for the show. I did not know that. Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey were the main event. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair in a last woman standing match. I remember that being kind of good. We got Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship, 6-woman tag team match. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya versus the Riot Squad. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Yeah, that would matter if we didn't get it for 40 other weeks every week on Monday Night Raw. Toni Storm versus Io Shirai. That was the 2018 Mae Young Classic Tournament Final. There was a 20-woman battle royal for a future women's championship match that featured Alundra Blaze, Asuka, Billie Kay, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Ember Moon, Ivory, Kelly, Lana, Mandy Rose, Maria Kanellis, Michelle McCool, Molly Holly, Naomi, Nia Jax, Peyton Royce, Sonya Deville, Tamina, Tori Wilson, and Zelina Vega, where Nia Jax ended up winning. And then there was a tag team match with Trish Stratus and Lita versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox. And Trish and Lita came out on top there. A lot to be desired, man. Left a lot to be desired. Not the best card. It wasn't the worst show, but it was a forgettable show nonetheless. And WWE is thinking about bringing it back, and this is coming from bodyslam.net. That WWE is planning to hold Evolution's PLE number 2 on July 5th at the Mohegan Sun Casino and Resorts in Connecticut. However, sources indicate the schedule is tentative and the event is still in development. It's time. The right time is now. There is no better time than now to do a Evolution PLE for the WWE Part 2 because of how stacked the rosters are. The NXT roster mixed with the main roster right now and the talent that is there is absolutely deserving of an Evolution 2. And I'm not even saying WWE needs to go out and bring in a legend like Trish and Lita and fill the fucking show up with Molly Holly and Alicia Fox. It doesn't even need that. WWE is sitting so pretty right now where they don't need any of that on the show. I'm not saying they can't be on the show. I'm just saying they don't need to have an active part for the in-ring aspect of the show. You can bring them in and give them special appearances. You could sit them front row. You could have guest ring announcers, whatever the case may be. Guest timekeepers, guest commentators. They don't need to take part in the active in-ring aspect of the show because their roster is so loaded and you could create such a great card with matches. I know people are probably going to go crazy of dream matches, Julia versus Io, or Julia versus Asuka, and Becky versus fucking Stephanie Vaquer, or Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea Ripley. I'm sure people are going to go fucking bonkers crazy over booking a dream match card. And I'm sure that there will be great cards from fans speculating on what the card's going to be. I don't think WWE is going to go that road. I don't. They're not going to make it into a forbidden door of PLEs. They don't need to do that. What I do think we end up getting is some storylines playing out that you see on TV right now that will take place on this show. I would not be surprised Charlotte Flair wins the championship at WrestleMania from Tiffany Stratton, and we get Tiffany Stratton getting the title back at this show, and a rematch happens at Evolution 2 on July 5th. I would not be surprised to see that. I would not be surprised to see Naomi versus Jade Cargill on this show if they don't do it at WrestleMania. I would not be surprised to see Becky Lynch potentially get AJ Lee in the ring one-on-one. Remember the tweet and delete that Becky did following Monday's comments? I could see AJ Lee coming out of retirement for this show to wrestle Becky Lynch one-on-one. Imagine, I just gave myself chills on that. I could see it. I could see Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria if they don't plan on doing that for the Intercontinental Championship at Evolution 2. I could see Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green for the Women's United States Championship. I could see women like Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson get called up and them challenge for the Tag Team Championships. I could see Jordan Grace, Stephanie Vaquer, and Julia for the NXT Women's Championship in a triple threat match, right? Or not even a tag team match with Jakara and Lash. I could see Sol Ruka and Zarya challenge for the Tag Team Championships. There's a lot that WWE's got going on. I don't think it's going to be a accumulation of dream matches. I think it's going to be certain feuds and whatever they got happening on TV playing out at this show, and you just wrap it up into one big ball, and then you move on and start fresh everywhere. That's the way I think it's going to end up. And that's the way I think I would do it. I mean, you could do dream matches every now and then if you want. They got to mean something, though. You got to give them meaning. You got to give them story. You can't book a fucking match just because it's a match. Then we're going back and criticizing everything that AEW is doing and then applying it to WWE. And then you don't expect me to criticize WWE for doing that? I would prefer story. I would prefer something like Becky versus AJ because of the Rollins and Punk dynamic and the feud and hatred that's there and just bleeding on to their fucking significant others. I would like to see story play out with everything that they got going on right now and put that on the show instead of booking random dream matches just for the sake of calling it a dream match with no rhyme, reason, or story or meaning behind it. I'm excited for this. I really am. I think this is a great move, and it's a long time coming. And like I said, there's no better time than now to do a show like this with the amount of roster you have in the women's division across both NXT and the main roster, the depth that exists right now. There's no better time than now to get this show a part 2. Thank you guys very much for all your support. If you did enjoy today's video, I would love if you leave a comment down below and leave a thumbs up as well on today's Off the Script. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Go check out all of the other content on the channel. There's plenty of it to get you guys caught up on. And I will be live tomorrow night with Jesse for the AEW Revolution post show right here on Off the Script. Until then, guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you right back here for the Revolution post on OTS.